Best Buy is dead. Bury it. Now, if you thought this company could not recover after our scathing review video of them about a year ago that got posted to the Best Buy subreddit, which is a thing. Apparently, Best Buy workers, like a cult, get together in a little subreddit circle jerk to talk about their blue shirts and their khaki pants.
I don't know. Jonathan Best Buy is quaking in his boots right now because we made that video.
Well, if you thought that the company couldn't possibly recover after that and the butthurt Reddit, you were right. After the holiday of 2023, they're phasing out physical media. We already saw it with CDs. That's gone. And movies have been toned down a little bit, movies and TV shows. But now we're hitting the point where they are just going away. So we're going to talk about this a little bit today before we hop further into it. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe. We appreciate you. So I guess at this point, if you want to buy a washing machine, maybe for your girlfriend, it's a cheap alternative to when you're shipped out on deployment or something.
Well, she needs to go to her full-time job.
Stuck in the washing machine?
No, doing the dishes.
Oh, sorry. We both went to very different misogynistic places with that joke. You're right. I mean, you can. What's Best Buy going to be good for? Jokes aside, what is Best Buy going to be good for after this? Because I understand, I will say full on, I understand that the majority of their sales probably do not come from movies. But this was another thing to get people in the door.
Right.
In the age of dying brick and mortar retailers, that's what everybody says, right? When weirdos like us still go out and we go shopping, we go to a mall, we go to a store, people say, oh, well, retail is dying. Malls are dying. Everybody wants to order online. If that's the case, why do you want to get rid of one of the things that does bring people in to browse? Because maybe some people just go in to look around at movies and get stuff, then they end up in video games and they're buying something. That's what you do with a store. That's why they say in business to diversify.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have different options, different things. We're even seeing this with businesses that are kind of on the decline, like GameStop, where they were like, oh crap, well, we can't operate off of just physical games, but there's still people who want them. So let's keep them, but let's also bring in Funko Pops and action figures, and we'll sell Stormtrooper helmets you can put on your shelf, whatever, t-shirts. So then you get people in the door for something, and they'll look at and buy other things. My point is, even if you want to go the route of, well, this is not the cornerstone of their business, it was another thing they had to offer that a lot of stores didn't. They had a better selection of movies and TV than Walmart and Target, two of the other big retailers that sold them. Now they're not even going to have that.
And for a while, they're the only people that sold steelbooks.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get a steelbook, which I know is a collector's thing, but if you wanted to get a steelbook, your options were Best Buy, or maybe you go online and find one on Zavvi or something like that. Mm-hmm. That was your option. It was just those two places. Maybe there's one other Fringe one that I'm forgetting about.
Well, they started popping up at Target after a long time.
Well, and that's the thing. Now I've started to see them at Target. I've started to see them at Walmart. Like I've seen Walmart started to get steelbooks in the last couple of months. You're starting to see them in other locations other than just Best Buy and Zavvi. And the thing is, for a while, that used to be Best Buy's thing. Mm-hmm. Like, if you wanted movies, you wanted collectible steelbooks, you wanted video games, which I know will probably go away at some point too. If you wanted all these things, you went to Best Buy.
Yep.
This is where you go. And then, lo and behold, they started phasing out their physical movie collection because a lot of Best Buys around the country, started to downsize and maybe you'd see one shelf of movies when before it'd be like 4 or 5 of them or something like that.
I would go to this one and they would have 5 rows of film and DVDs. Yes. And I would see people in there, and this was less than 5 years ago, who would be buying 7, 8 different seasons of stuff at a time. Mm-hmm. Still, even in the rise of digital media, Netflix, all that, they were still buying stuff because there were collectors. Mm-hmm. There were people who wanted it. And I don't understand why over time, I do understand if you think like, oh, well, in this region, people don't want it. Maybe we move them out of this region.
Right.
Maybe there's a city where people don't really buy them. I understand that. But the idea of scrapping them from everywhere, even places where it is doing better, because we know there are Best Buys where physical media sells more. Mm-hmm. To just say, nah, scorched earth, it's all gone. That's what I don't understand because, like you said, for a while, Best Buy was the place. There was, in America, I know, For a while, there were a few, but there was Circuit City and Best Buy. They were both very big when we were kids. And then Best Buy, they had the ball. You know, it was like they were the guy now. They could run with it.
Yeah.
Movies, games, collectibles, whatever they wanted to do, like they had the market. And over time, they just dropped the ball on it so hard to now the point where they're just getting rid of it.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's the thing is, you know, I know people look at this argument and they'll say, well, this is just like Blockbuster. It's just something that's going to die, so get over it. And it's like, well, you know, even if it's something that is not selling out trillions of dollars every year, even if they're making $5 billion on, you know, washing machines and appliances and stuff like that a year. So you look at those comparisons and say, well, yeah, they're obviously making 5 times more the amount on washing machines. My thing is, now you're still dropping a product of yours.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of this? People can make the argument that, like, well, this is going the way of Blockbuster and stuff like that. It's just going to die out. But the thing is, you're still making all this money and you're still dropping the product.
Well, can I point something out here with this? So to give you some actual numbers just from what has been said by Variety and other places, sales of DVD and Blu Ray discs have been shrinking, but they still are actually kind of high. $754 million a year in the United States.
Oh, so I wasn't too far off then.
So, but I was just making sure, you know, just in general. I don't know if that's just Best Buy. My understanding was that's just in total. $754 million.
Okay, got it.
So, yes, that's not nearly as much. It used to be $1 billion, like a year before.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is dropping, but it is still a significant market amount to just ditch. I mean, and here's how we know it is. You can say, again, oh, it's going the way of Blockbuster, like what you said. Then why do other people want a piece of the pie? Walmart is swooping in. They're working with distributors with WB and Universal, supposedly, this has been reported, to try and distribute the dropped ball right here. Right. They're trying to pick up the ball that Best Buy is dropping and run with it themselves. They're trying to get different studios to still print physical media and send it to Walmart. Because Walmart knows, hey, we can get people in the door. Right. You know, we can get people in, they look at some movies, they wind up in video games, they buy something, they wind up in automotive, and they're buying oil.
Right, they realize, hey, wait a minute, I need oil.
Right.
Let's go over there.
That's the point, is you're trying to get people in your store. Here's the problem with Best Buy. Other than physical media and games, they don't actually sell that much that's cheap.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, yes, you want to get people in the door, but it is kind of harder when you're like, oh, we want to get people in the door, and they're probably not going to go over and buy a washing machine while they're here.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing with Best Buy. It's very specific items now.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason for people to go into Best Buy is like, man, I need a new refrigerator.
Or toaster or something,
right.
Yeah.
People are not walking into Best Buy to browse refrigerators just casually and then be like, well, actually, now that I'm here, maybe I'll buy one. Like, people aren't doing that.
But movies and video games were something.
Yeah, it's something to be like, okay, I want to go see what movies are on display this week.
Yeah.
And then now when you're in there, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I needed to go buy this thing, so maybe I'll go check that out.
I can't tell you how many times, even as a poor college student, that I would go to Best Buy between classes. I used to have a block when I was at the university where I would have 2.5 hours in between my classes, and it was not worth commuting home and coming back. I went to Best Buy 10 minutes away from the university, and I found myself browsing stuff, and I'd buy a movie.
Yeah.
You know, or I'd buy a game, or I'd buy a whatever. Now, maybe that's one reason I was poor, but,
Probably.
You know, I would end up there, I'd browse, and I'd buy something. And there's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
You know, even now, even young people. There are a lot of young people who don't want to just sit in their house and get massive. A lot of them do want to walk around, look at something, go out and do something.
Right.
Not everybody views entertainment as just turning on Netflix. And that's another thing. This is like such a multifaceted discussion. I feel like we could talk about it for hours because we've already made an hour-long video on it, and we've made several other videos on this topic. But I think that this has to do with what they said. And did I read their statement?
Because you did not.
They did confirm this. They said, to state the obvious, the way we watch movies and TV shows is much different today than it was decades ago. I want to say something about this first. Yes and no. It's not for everybody. There are a lot of people like you and me who have limited time, who don't want to spend hours scrolling through Netflix, just fucking around trying to find something to watch. We want to go buy the movie we took the time to see in the theaters that we liked.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Or we want to buy a show that we know we'll like a cartoon from when we were kids. and watch a couple episodes a night and then go to bed and go back to work. You know, there's a lot of people like that who it hasn't changed for. So I do want to say that. So it's such a broad overstatement to just say, well, it's changed for basically everybody. It hasn't. There's a lot of people who do still care about this, whether you do listening or not. That's irrelevant. A lot of people do. And that's okay if you don't, but a lot of people do. They went on to say, making this change gives us more space and opportunity to bring customers new and innovative tech for them to explore, discover, and enjoy. How much more space can they need? They are a warehouse. Half of the store is empty.
Right.
Right now, half of it's empty. It's just wash machines, dryers, refrigerators, and TVs. And
then they have like a computer section.
A computer section that sells mobile devices, computer, and cords. Yeah,
this part I want to talk about here, because the thing is, Best Buy's already downsized their stores, which we've already talked about, to basically like one shelf of movies now. And then they'll have, you know, a couple shelves of video games. They'll have like an Xbox shelf. They'll have a PlayStation shelf. They'll have a Switch shelf.
Started carrying some overpriced toys.
Yeah, they'll have a toy shelf, right? They'll have these things. But they only really have one movie shelf. And then they'll literally have one shelf for newer movies.
And when you say shelf, you mean like a row, right?
Yeah, I mean like a row or whatever with the shelf thing on it.
Yeah.
They'll have one section for new movies that they put on like this one stand, and then they have kind of a longer one for other movies that they kind of cycle over there, or TV shows or something.
Yep.
The thing is, you are getting literally one more shelf space in your store.
Maybe two.
I guess is what I was trying to get at. So it's like when they say, this will give us a chance, an opportunity to bring customers new and innovative tech. What new tech do you have at your disposal that you're just sitting around like, man, I really wish we had exactly one shelf space in our store here for this brand new tech that we have no space for.
Best Buy's like, we've been waiting to leak the iPhone 32, like, really? But we don't have the shelf space. We just can't do it. So
it's like apparently this is like hot coveted space in their stores.
Well, and also like, there's other stuff in their store that they sell that I've never seen people buy.
Right, yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of niche computer products I've never seen a soul buy.
Yes.
In that store.
Yeah, and no one even like goes in the aisle at all.
And there's a lot of cheap, crappy TVs in the back too.
Yeah.
Which, if you wanted, you could just buy at Walmart. The reason to go to Best Buy for a TV is to get a nice TV.
Yep.
That's why you'd go to Best Buy.
And even then, you go there on Black Friday.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like...
What are they going to use the space for? In fact, I've seen a lot of locations become express Best Buys or become a full Best Buy that has become a half warehouse for shipping now.
Yeah.
There's some by us, like in our area in the Twin Cities, where you will go to them and half of the store, I don't know if you remember this one, it was one we went to a while ago, half of the store is just sectioned off and is now a shipping warehouse.
Yep, I remember that.
There was another one I saw where they were becoming an express and they were going to rent out the other part. You know, so that they paid less for the lot.
Right.
And this is the thing, I don't think people want to admit this, including I'm sure there's nice Best Buy employees. I've met nice Best Buy employees. But including the snooty Best Buy employees that get mad anytime the business is criticized. Around 2010, they were really struggling. They bounced back a bit, you know, and I think a lot of people knew, okay, well, Best Buy is not somewhere I'm going to work the rest of my life. So people knew that, you know, it wasn't going to last forever. I guess I don't understand if your business is declining, and maybe it bounced back in the last 5 years and is doing amazing right now, but we know that it has been on the decline since its height overall. Why would you shoot yourself in the foot by removing one of the things that makes you unique?
Right, yeah.
That's my question that I'm trying to get at. Like, even if you listening say physical media is dead, I don't care about it. You got to admit, this is one of the places that had the best selection of the thing you don't care about. Why would you want to get rid of that thing that does make your store somewhat unique, somewhat interesting? You know, we go to this place called Half Price Books. I don't know if it's I know it's not everywhere in the country. I know it's in Minnesota, Texas, and some other states. It is basically a pawn shop. People sell to them books, movies, video games, all this stuff, and they resell it. I cannot tell you how many people pack the sections of like movies, video games, media, physical media.
Right. Because
it's nice for them to be able to see something, hold it in their hand, and get it. And also, you know that it's going to come to you in the condition that you picked it up in. You know, that's another thing too, is like, even if this transitions to a specialty store online, the problem is with the way that the USPS treats stuff, the way UPS, who you even briefly worked for a little bit, treats stuff, the way we see them load trucks and the way we see them deliver stuff, it's a trend for them to not be very careful because they are like on strict time regimens. And so a lot of people aren't going to want to buy this stuff online anyway because they don't trust it to come to them in good shape. That's why a lot of people will go to stores to look for these things.
Right, yeah.
So now you're telling them just not to bother. And they're not even replacing it with online. Like, they haven't made any statement saying, we'll still sell it online. They basically just made a statement like, we're done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just want to get out of the physical media realm entirely. Kind of circling back to what I said at the very beginning, this is something I've never understood with companies at all, is they'll drop a whole section of what they sell. And let's say they sell 5 items and they get rid of 1 because that 1 is not as profitable as the other 4. Mm-hmm. But my thing is, okay, unless you're literally making like $1 off this item a year, like I'm talking nothing, like no one bought this at all, you're still dropping all the people that cared about that.
And those people are no longer going to come into the store.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing.
I don't have any reason to go in here after this. Because for me, I can buy I'm being serious, I can buy my video games more conveniently at Target.
Yeah.
Targets are everywhere. They always have the newest games that I want. Mm-hmm. Walmarts always have them. I've maybe encountered one Walmart that doesn't have a good selection of video games.
Walmart's a good one because their video games are always $10 cheaper.
Yeah, almost always. Yeah, a lot of them are discounted.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is Best Buy going to offer to bring people like us in?
TVs.
But I don't need new TVs all the time.
Right.
And honestly, out of spite at this point, I would just buy my TV somewhere else.
Yeah, I would just go to Walmart.
Because, like, why should I buy it there? Or I'd go to Target. That's the other thing is, like, these guys, they don't understand that other places are stepping it up to step into what they are doing.
Right, yeah.
I've seen other businesses like Costco, Sam's Club, places like that sell even appliances for cheaper than Best Buy, by the way. I've seen places like Target. Yeah, they downsized their movies, but they've upsized things like their TV selection. They have a whole section of TVs now you can walk through.
Right.
That's actually pretty nice. Not just on the shitty back wall. Actually nice. And something else I noticed that I wanted to mention, probably way too late because most people who just were like, digital good, physical bad, meh, they probably left. But have you noticed, people said the same stuff about movies now that they were saying back in the day about books and vinyl. And you know what I see a ton of now at places like Target and Walmart? Books and vinyl.
Right.
People want them again. There's a resurgence, not of just nostalgia, of like, I like to own this thing. I want to buy a manga. I want to buy, a chapter book. I want to buy a vinyl of Taylor Swift.
Right.
Those things were dead. Vinyl was seen as for niche collectors. It was dead. And those collectors were told the same thing that douchebags tell us. Get over it. It's dead. Let it die. Leave it in the past. CDs now are the thing. Now it's like Spotify and Apple Music. And if you don't like that, you're a big old cuck. And it's like, okay, but now like vinyl is back.
Right.
Oh, but Nook and Kindle, that's like the best thing ever. Like, forget about Jesus coming back. Don't you want a Kindle? And it's like, okay, but now people are buying books at Target.
Right,
it's like, what are you talking about? Like, this stuff comes in cycles. We've seen it just like you and me, it comes in cycles. And we've seen that
And I come in cycles.
Yeah, we've seen that happen. mainly unicycles. Right. The local circus with my clown thing going on, but Harley Quinn doing damage up in my brain. Boy, this is some trauma dumping going on there. I do think, though, that we've seen this happen before where these things cycle in and out.
Right, yeah. It's a trend.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I guarantee it will be a trend in 20 years that people will want to buy movies. Mm-hmm. Or video games will go away.
Well, yeah, do you want to know why people want to buy movies? Because they're tired of these streaming companies once physical media is dead, and the streaming companies have absolutely zero incentive at all to lower their prices for you. I mean, we're seeing Disney Plus doing it already. And people are paying an arm and a leg for their streaming companies. And then they're going to be tired of that. They're going to say, well, why am I spending more on my streaming sites than I am on my home mortgage?
But you know what? Forever it was streaming's cheaper than cable. Mm-hmm. but the deals kept getting worse.
That's what happens because they monopolize the business. We see this in capitalism all the time.
Even Walmart did this.
Yes, when you get rid of your competition, like Best Buy going down, what's the incentive for Disney Plus, for example, to not raise their yearly payment by $50?
Well, yeah, like let's say
what's the incentive?
Disney Plus was the only streaming service left. I guarantee you prices would skyrocket.
They would. You'd be spending like $50 a month.
Yeah, because we saw that already. We've seen this where Walmart has done this before. Maybe I should say allegedly, but it's not a crime, so whatever. But like Walmart would roll into town. They would basically offer low prices. Every little business would go out of business, and then Walmart prices would magically rise.
Right.
Amazon. When Amazon was young, prices were dirt cheap.
Mm-hmm.
They were dirt cheap because they'd buy stuff wholesale, and they would sell it to you for a while, I think even at a loss. You know, like Walmart operated at a loss in a lot of areas.
Right.
These businesses, when they're big enough, they'll operate at a loss to get you in. That's what Disney Plus was doing. They admitted it. They admitted they were operating at a loss because they said, like, we're not making the money we should be able to. Our catalog is worth more than this. And now all of a sudden the prices are going up because it's not new anymore.
Right.
This always happens.
Yep.
Always. And yet people don't care and they don't realize it. And even during, I think you can say it now, but during the illness of 2020 to 2023 of the 19th variety, you know what happened? Physical media sales skyrocketed.
Well, yeah.
Do you remember that? Because everyone was stuck at home and they were like, I want to watch The Office. Wait, it's not on this thing? Well, I don't want to go buy Netflix or Pisscock or whatever. I want to go watch it on a DVD. So they go buy a DVD. You know, they would go buy it.
Yeah.
Right? Like they would actually go get the thing. Or like, oh, I want to watch the old Transformers G1 cartoon. I just had a son. I want to show him it. Wait, it's only on DVD? I guess I'll go buy it. Mm-hmm. You know, because they were all stuck at home and they were all realizing, oh, not everything is on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. So they would go buy it. But now that everybody's back at work, it's like they magically forgot.
Right.
Because it's like back to just what's the most convenient. But they don't understand that what's the most convenient does come at a cost itself. Like, yes, there's convenience. You also have issues. Buffering. You'll have issues. What about in your area if the internet's not as good? All of a sudden, your quality of your streaming service is lowered to match what your area's internet can provide. Oh, well then get better internet. Not available in some places. Go to mountainous regions of the U.S. Internet's balls.
Right.
It sucks. It's terrible. My friend lived in Arizona. He couldn't even play online games. I'm sure there's places in Arizona that are perfectly fine, but he lived in like the more mountainy areas in like a retirement home type area with his father. Couldn't even play games like Call of Duty online. Mm-hmm. So laggy, couldn't even play. Couldn't stream Netflix. Didn't work right.
Yeah, well, he doesn't matter.
Maybe he should move.
Digital media good.
He should probably move. It's like, I don't understand why people don't get that there are different solutions that work for everyone. I don't want digital media and streaming to not exist. They should exist.
I want both.
They should exist as options. So should this.
And what happens if you're already paying for 5 subscription services, but you're not paying for Peacock, and all of a sudden Netflix loses the rights to The Office, which they did, and Peacock gets the rights to The Office? Are you just going to like add on Peacocks and now you're paying for 6? And you want to watch The Office? Do you want to what? I can watch The Office.
You bought the DVD.
Who cares who has the rights to The Office?
Right.
I don't give a crap. I own it.
Well, and then
I can watch it.
We also have the problem, too. I mean, there's so many layers to this, too. Censorship is another one. Remember when Disney, with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they introduced the idea of doing a censored version for younger audiences?
Yeah.
And then they accidentally uploaded that version, and it was overwriting the other version when you went to click on it.
Yeah.
And then those scenes were accidentally censored.
Maybe Bob Iger should accidentally upload his D pics so I can see them.
What is going on here? His D plus? I don't really get why people don't notice this. Like, I'm not trying to be like, it's George Orwell's 1984 all over again. It's a brave new world. It's like, I'm not trying to be that guy. You know, it's not like there's reptilians in the water. They're turning the DVDs not straight. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that the funny thing is people don't understand that when you give these companies complete control,
yes,
they will use it.
Yep.
You know, this is my problem with this, is like, we've talked about this too. Yes, there is the issue of it's not as profitable. Fine. I admit that. Then scale back. Mm-hmm. Don't get rid of it. maybe produce a little less. Sell those in locations where they sell. That's fine. I think any business person would be like, yep, it makes sense. But we already have the problem of there's not enough supply of a lot of stuff in different places. You'll go to a store and there'll be 2 copies of a new video game or movie,
Right.
and you can't get it. So that's already a problem. But then even other than that, you also have the problem of control. You give them control, they will use it. Maybe something is too offensive. Maybe now there's a trigger warning in front of every Disney movie. Well, maybe eventually that's not good enough. Maybe eventually the trigger warning is not good enough. Maybe eventually they just start editing those scenes out. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. It's just a song. Yeah, maybe one place it's What Makes the Red Man Red, the song from Peter Pan. Okay, that's gone. Well, maybe another place it's the racial characters in Dumbo. Okay, that's gone. Well, maybe another place it's the inaccurate history of Pocahontas. We should probably make that unavailable for streaming.
Right.
That's insensitive.
Right.
Well, maybe another place it's, oh, this is just this is now seen unfavorably. Let's get rid of it. You don't own these things. You don't guarantee that you have access to them. Yes, they're just movies, but it's still art. Like, it still matters. If some asshole goes and censors a bunch of digital media and streaming media, but the disc exists, people will catch it. People will notice. People will say, hey, that's censored. Hey, this is not as good of a version. Hey, you should just buy this. If nobody has that anymore, no one will ever notice.
It's disposable to them. It's disposable entertainment.
Well, that's the other thing, too, is not everything is meant to be disposable entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't understand. This is what I respect about guys like Christopher Nolan, who, like, even though I can't hear his damn movies half the time, well, I guess I can hear them too much. I just can't hear the talking.
Right.
They respect the cinema. They respect the idea of the movie theater mattering. They respect the idea of different ways of displaying art being different for different things. Maybe something works, maybe at home works best to watch NCIS. You wouldn't go to the theater for every new episode. But maybe the theater works best to watch The Dark Knight.
Right.
And maybe that elevates the experience.
Yeah, or Oppenheimer or something.
Yeah, just like how you wouldn't, no one would argue right now that listening to a CD and going to a concert are the same experience. But that's the kind of argument they're trying to make by getting rid of physical media. They're just trying to remove a certain type of experience to substitute another one that they have more control over. And that's what I hate about this whole thing. Is that at the end of the day, yeah, maybe it doesn't make enough money. Maybe it should be downsized a little bit. Things like limited run games. Do that with movies. We've already seen things like Shout Factory, I know, does it. Zavvi does it with a lot of exclusive stuff. And that's great. But I don't like these people who just don't want it to exist. That's my problem. And that's my problem with Best Buy feeding into this, is it's another step towards just getting rid of this media type. Just ditching it. It's not just about Best Buy. I could give a shit less about Best Buy. They're just whatever to me at this point. That's not the point. The point is that this is another step towards eliminating this type of art. That's a problem to me.
Right. Yeah, and maybe 10 years down the road, maybe Walmart gets rid of it.
Yeah.
Maybe Target also gets rid of it, and then we don't have it anymore.
And then it's just secondhand stores.
Yeah, this is that first step to it. So, yeah, it's just stupid. It's a bad business decision from Best Buy, I think. Just any way you look at it, any angle that goes into it, I think this is just a bad business decision. I guess I don't understand. And I guess my big question to Jonathan Best Buy, the CEO of Best Buy here.
Yeah.
Who are you expecting coming into your store now? The people you're expecting entering into your store are people that want one specific thing. That's it. That's the only people that will go into your store. There's not browsers. There's not people just buying time or killing time before something.
Still thinking about browsers.
I am too, yeah. There's not, those types of people are not in your store anymore. They're not. Because why would they go around and look at a washing machine? What purpose would they have to do that?
But that's something that Target and Walmart will still have.
Yeah, so now people are going to be like, oh crap, I have an hour before my class starts. Before I would have headed over to Best Buy, but now I'll go to Target. Now I'll go to Walmart. So now I guarantee you they'll make this decision, and I'm going to make the prediction that 10 years down from now, Best Buy is going to be extinct. It's going to be bankrupt. It's going to be, or if it does still exist, it's very niche.
And express.
It's maybe like a couple stores here and there. It's just, this is just a bad businessing decision. You're literally getting rid of an entire section of your shoppers.
I think it would have been smarter to add more for browsing.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were doing with the toys. Like, yeah, they're a little overpriced, but they were adding NECA figures.
Mhm.
They were adding, and you'd walk into the aisle and someone would be like, "What's up, my NECA?" And you'd be like, "Oh, you can't say that.
Oh, no.
You can't say that to me." But you'd see Lego kits.
Yeah,
you would
right.
see dolls.
It just
remember?
brings different types of people into your store.
Right, and maybe they buy something else.
And that's what you want.
So I'm surprised that instead of leaning into that, they're going away from it.
Yes, I'm exhausted. This is just so dumb.
It's really dumb. But you know what? People like us are not going to be the ones affected.
No, because we'll just go somewhere else.
And you know what else? We also have enough physical media that we could just be fine.
Yep.
I mean, like, I want more stuff.
I want more stuff, but if physical media died right now, I'd have enough.
Yeah, you'd have a small library collection of movies and TV shows and
Mhm.
games that you like, and you'd be entertained. You'd probably be entertained the rest of your life.
Yeah, probably.
So, I don't know. That's what's silly to me is this is worse for future generations of media preservation and enjoyment of art than it is for us. For us, it's just stupid. Anyways, have a fantastic day. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe. As always, everyone, stay shway.